guys, good evening. This is Michelle Powell. I'm going to flip the screen. I'm going to flip the screen for just a moment for those of you who are coming in live. First, I want to thank my replay watchers. I appreciate you being here. Hi, Be Free. Good evening. Today's topic, or this evening's topic, is the 3 must-haves for a dynamic personal brand. First of all, let me just say thank you to those of you who are watching on replay, because I know that you're already following me and you're keeping up with my scopes. And I have to apologize for last week. I was actually not scoping at all last week. It was a very busy week and had another set of priorities. So I apologize. I was not here for a week, but I'm still here. I'm back. So thank you very much for keeping up with me, for still following and tuning in. And I'm excited about tonight's subject because this is something that I've wanted to talk about for a while. And to break this down, I've been doing my own studies for quite a while now. And when I say study, I study people. I study information by topics, but I study people the most because I find that what impresses me is how people apply information. You know, I have a lot of books on my shelf that help you with business, with personal image, with all kinds of self-help things. But what's more interesting to me is to watch someone who has learned to not just read that, but to apply it and to see what that looks like. So I have gathered some information for you tonight, and I hope that this will awaken something in you. Maybe some of the things that I'm going to share are obvious in some ways, and in other ways it's kind of a wake-up call to say, hey, you know, I forgot about that. What am I really doing to fine-tune that? So I'm going to flip the camera now so you can say hello. Hi there. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read my notes. I hope you don't mind that. And if you don't mind, please also share this topic because I'm going to dig into this deeper tomorrow. I'm going to start with the 3 basics today, and then I'm going to go a little deeper on that tomorrow. So if you'd like to share that now, then please do so that those who are not watching live can have a chance to watch the replay before the next session tomorrow, which hopefully they can join live. So in order to share, you need to swipe up on an Android or swipe left to right on an iOS and click the share button. I'd appreciate that. Thank you very much. And let me just ask, I see there are a couple people on now, and maybe some others will join a little bit later. Let me find out from you where you are from, so I get an idea who I'm talking to at 7:30 in the evening, Eastern Standard Time. One of the things that I'd like to do, since I'm still fairly new with Periscope, is to find out the best time for those who are interested in this subject of business etiquette. And let me go back for just a moment. For those of you who may be just joining, or someone hit the share button and you found this in your inbox and said, okay, well, let me figure out what is this and who is this. My name is Michelle Powell, and I am founder and CEO of Professional Manner of Washington. We are a consulting firm practicing in the area of business etiquette. So all of the training, all of the workshops, all of the consultancy that I do has to deal with professionalism, understanding how etiquette applies to your work life. So that's everything from understanding how to receive visitors, improving your customer service, understanding on an executive level how to entertain your clients, email etiquette, everything that has to do with your professional image and how you carry out your actual work, and improving the nature of your business relationships. So everything that has to do with that is framed in the Halona Black. Hello, and please tell me where you're from. I'd like to welcome you formally. And if that's a first name, Halona, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Just want to say hi to you. So if you can just, if this is your first time joining, then please put a 1 in the comment button, and then tell me where you're from. That'd be helpful. Orlando, thank you. Nice to have you. So I haven't gotten into the subject just yet. I'm kind of doing an introduction here, and first of all, introducing myself. So welcome. I appreciate you being here. I will for your sake and for others who are just joining in, I'll reintroduce myself. My name is Michelle Powell. I am the founder and CEO of Professional Manner, which is a consulting firm in Washington, D.C., and we provide training in business etiquette. So everything that has to do with your professional life, our goal is to help you improve how that looks, how it feels, how you carry that out, so that you get the best out of your work experience and that others get the best out of you. So our topic tonight is the 3 must-haves for a dynamic personal brand. Now, I know there are a lot of people who are out there talking about your personal brand, and quite honestly, for a long time, I did not want to use that phrasing. I thought it was just too, catchy phrase or something, and everyone was still trying to figure out, what does that really mean? But over time, it's grown on me, and I actually embrace that now because it encompasses what a person needs to think about when they think of how they present themselves to the business world. So your personal brand is how people identify you in a professional setting. That's the bottom line. That's at least my definition of it. And so what I want to dig into this evening is to approach that from the aspect of including etiquette as an advantage for you in your professionalism, in your overall professional image. So there are 3 things that I believe strongly are your must-haves if you're trying to solidify what your brand is. So before I dig into those 3 things, let's go back and just look at for a second what a brand is. Now, if I say the word Walmart, you all pretty much have a picture in your mind, right? It's convenient shopping at modest pricing. You go in and you can either, in some places, if it's a super Walmart, you can pick up your groceries at the same time. You can go get a mop, or you can get bedding, or you can get pet supplies. So you know what kind of shopping you're doing. You don't expect the same thing when you walk into a Neiman Marcus. Am I right? Hi, good evening. G Gloves 5. I hope I'm saying that right. If you are just joining for the first time, please tell me your first name so that I can say hello to you and get to know the folks that are becoming my audience. Giselle, I remember your name from, was it RJ, the Courage Giver? I think you were in the same audience with me the other day. Yes, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate that. I hope that you get good content from being here. Thank you. Where are you from, Giselle? Please let me know. So I want to get a feel for where my audience is from because I'm on the East Coast. It's currently a little after 7:30 p.m. So I want to know if this is a good time for my audience. So if you're on the West Coast or somewhere else, Southern California, okay, great. I just want to know if this is a good time in the evening. I actually put up on my Twitter site a poll, and I think it went by too fast. I may have to put that up again just to find out what's the best time for people who are interested in learning about business etiquette. What's the best time of day for you? Because I'm still building my scope schedule, my Periscope schedule. So I want to keep that in mind for those of you who are faithfully tuning in so that you can actively engage with me, that you can give comments and feedback and don't have to just catch it on the replay. So hopefully we'll get that all worked out. If you'd like to suggest a time, I'm going to give you 3, and you can tell me which of those 3 are the best for you. You can either tell me here, or you can send it to me on Twitter. I'd like to suggest, again, these are Eastern Standard Times, 1 p.m. in the afternoon, 4 p.m. in the afternoon, or 7 p.m. I don't want to do too much later than that because I know for East Coast folks, they're getting into their evening. It's getting late. Now, there may be some exceptions if some things come up where our topic is a little bit longer and I want to make sure that everyone's settled in for the evening. I may change those times, but I will always give a heads up on Twitter. So I hope that if you're following me here on Periscope, that you'll also do the same on Twitter, and that way you'll get those notices ahead of time, 4 or 7. Okay, great. That's good to know. Thank you. I'm going to keep track of that, everyone who's responding, and then I'll see what the general consensus is and try to come up with a consistent schedule there for you. Okay, so this evening we're talking about the 3 must-haves for a dynamic personal brand. Now, we all know different brands and what they stand for. If I say Lexus, you know about how much money you're going to spend as opposed to what? A Ford? You know what you're going to spend, right? If I say, come with me shopping to Walmart as opposed to Neiman Marcus, you know how much money you need to have in your pocket, right? So there is an association with value to a certain brand. And it doesn't mean that Neiman Marcus is better than Walmart, maybe for some products, but they're in a different category, and that's okay. If you want to present yourself as a Walmart, you have an audience. You have people who will shop with you. If you're a Neiman Marcus, the same thing. But the thing is, you don't want to confuse people between the two. You don't want people to have a hard time scratching their head trying to describe what it is that you provide. So it's the same thing with your personal brand, how you present yourself to your business community. You don't want people scratching their head and trying to figure out, well, what exactly does he do? Or what does he stand for? Or sometimes I see him this way, and other times I see him this way. So that's one of the things that I want to suggest as one of the 3 must-haves is integrity. And integrity comes from having consistency. So people follow you, or they follow a brand. Brand loyalty comes from people knowing what that brand stands for. Okay, so that's the first thing, is understanding what your message is. Yes, integrity, exactly. And integrity comes from people knowing who you are, knowing what you stand for, knowing what you represent. And that comes from having a consistent message. So, for example, I've told you already, and if you've watched me before on my previous scopes, you know that my subject is business etiquette. So if I come in and I start talking about marketing tips and tools, or I come in and tell you how to fast track your business to get on Fortune 500 list or something, that's something a little bit different than business etiquette. When I'm talking about business etiquette, you should have in mind that I'm talking about how to improve your professionalism, how to engage people with diplomacy, with courtesy, with grace. Those are the types of things that come under the umbrella of business etiquette. So if I start talking about something that's way off, I mean, it may be business related, but if it's in another category, then you get confused and you say, well, what does Michelle represent? What really am I getting from this? I never know from one day to the next. So it's important that you have consistency. So when you have consistency, you build integrity for your brand, and people become loyal to your brand. They understand what it is that you represent. The other thing about having integrity, and that's your number 1, integrity is tied to personal morals. Yes, absolutely. People need to know what you stand for, and that means your morals as well. So if you are a person who's in the business of providing a service as opposed to products, then it's even more so important, because value is determined by the way that you present something. It's not whether or not that thing works, okay? Because if it breaks, that's a fact. It's broken, it's faulty, they take it back, you remanufacture, etc. But when you're providing a service, it's important for you to understand that your audience is expecting a certain level of quality out of you. And if you're not consistent in giving that same level of quality, then it erodes that integrity. It causes people to question, can I really trust this brand? So if you're in business for yourself, it's even more important, because you are your brand, you are your business. And, your business, whatever that service is an extension of you personally, and vice versa. So again, the integrity is important, and how you build that is consistency, being respectful to your audience. Sometimes we think that we are, but we unintentionally can offend people. And that's another area of etiquette that I teach on, is understanding where you can make mistakes and you don't realize you're making them and you're offending your audience. I'll give you an example. There was a real estate agent who was working with an Asian couple, and he did not realize when he was taking them out to see different houses that the address was very important to them, because there are certain numbers in their culture that are good luck versus bad luck. And 3 out of the 5 houses that he showed them had those bad luck numbers, and they didn't even want to go inside. They were trying to be courteous to him, but those cultural differences ran deep for them, and it was hard for them to, share with him, we don't even want to approach that because these numbers are significant to us. He didn't realize that. He wasn't intentionally trying to offend them. Nevertheless, he did, because it was an absence of information. It was a lack of knowledge. And so those are some of the things that I dig into when I talk about mistakes in etiquette can cost you business. That's one of the key phrases that I use quite often. So it's not enough to think, oh, I'm just going to dress professional. I'm going to be kind and courteous to people. I'm going to make sure I give a good handshake. I'm going to give them good eye contact, and so on. Because in certain cultures, giving eye contact is a no-no between men and women. For example, if I go into certain cultures, I would not address the man first. I would address the woman first. I would not give eye contact at all to the man, but I would to the woman. Now, we think in American culture that that's disrespectful not to give eye contact. But if you don't know those differences, you can offend. Okay, so that's just some example. So integrity is having consistency, being respectful of your audience, and that means that you need to learn some additional information, know who your audience is. And then the other thing about having integrity is to establish healthy boundaries. This is something that I talked about on one of my previous scopes, and I specifically addressed it to healthy boundaries in the workplace. But you need to have boundaries with your audience, with your clients as well, healthy boundaries. What I mean by that is, again, people need to know what you stand for. And if you have a client who is trying to get you, for example, if you're in banking and they're trying to get you to do something, or you're in accounting and you are handling someone's taxes, and they ask you to fudge on the numbers, or they want you to make up some fictitious something, or they write up a receipt right in front of you for something just to balance, some numbers that they need in order to be in their favor. Those things call into question, like Giselle was saying, your morals. And if you make those kinds of compromises with them, even once, they're going to expect that you'll do it again. And you have lost that boundary. You have lost that level of integrity. Although you've done something in their favor, they're going to still think about, okay, this person is compromising. So it's really important, again, that integrity is one of those must-haves for your personal brand. Integrity equals ethics. Yes, I would say so. If people don't clearly understand that you have strong moral ethics and a work ethic, and that you hold to that, especially even in particular professions, there are codes of conduct, and those are designed around having ethics in that profession. If you do not follow those rules or those codes of conduct, you've lost that integrity. And so then it creates that level of inconsistency where people don't know if you're going to do the right thing or not. And if you've done this for me, you're probably doing it for other people. And if you fudge here, then how can I trust you when you give me advice over here? You see, sometimes you may think that you're helping the person at that time, but really you could be hurting them and your relationship overall, because now they know that you're not holding strong to those ethics. So it's very important. So integrity is the first one. Now, while you're thinking on that, I'm going to take a quick sip of water. Okay, what do you think number 2 is? Let's hear some guesses. What do you think of the 3 must-haves for a dynamic personal brand? What do you think number 2 might be? And these are not actually in order. I'm going in the opposite order. I started with integrity because I think that is very important. But one thing builds on the other. So I'm going to work backwards and then I'm going to show you or justify why I think it should come in that particular order. That's tough. Okay, honesty. Honesty, I would say, is related to integrity, and so is trust. People trust you when you are consistent. People trust you when you are respectful. People trust you when you have boundaries. So I would say, Giselle, that all of that would still fall under integrity. The second thing, I'll go ahead and give that to you. The second thing that you must have in order to have a dynamic personal brand. And what I mean by dynamic is that people are drawn to you. They can't wait to be in your presence. They can't wait to do business with you. They can't wait to hear from you. They can't wait to just engage in whatever it is that you're promoting, that you're selling, that you're presenting. So that second thing is likability. We do business with people that we like, right? Sometimes passion. Okay, that's a good guess too. Yeah. Likability comes from you having passion. How about that? How about that? Yes, you're close. You're close. Likability comes from people believing in you and saying, wow, something about that person. I feel their energy. You know, Giselle, I feel like that about RJ, the Courage Giver. There's something about her that just transcends that camera, and you feel her, especially when she looks into it and says, you hear me? I just love when she does that. It's like she's really connecting with you. And there's a likability there that keeps people coming back. That, you know, she may not have a message that is necessarily unique. You know, there are other people who may be saying the same things, but it's because she's likable. There are other people out there who have this likability factor where you get excited to be around them and you think, wow, this person is so awesome. And everything that they say, you're like, yeah, even though you may have heard it before or you may have heard it phrased differently. But there's something about their presence that draws you in. And when you like someone, you want to be in their presence. You want to learn from them. You want to do business with them. So likability is very important. Likability means that you are engaging. It means you're approachable. It means you're responsive to people. It means you have a positive, good attitude, and people feel that. And even when they're feeling bad, they can get that off of you. It shows her passion then because she likes what she does. Yes, exactly. And a lot of that is very true. A lot of what resonates in a person that we find to be likable is because they are passionate about what they do. They really mean it. It's not just, oh, this is my job. This is what I have to do. Sign here, please, so I can get my commission. You know, there's a difference there when someone's sitting in front of you and they're talking with all this energy and enthusiasm and you really just want to believe and you're like, I don't really need this right now, but gosh darn it, I like you so much. Yeah, I'll buy a box of cookies, you know, whatever it is, because that person just draws you in. There's something about them, their smile, their energy, the way that they look at you or they ask you questions, you know, they're engaging. So people who are likable, they have a dynamic personal brand. When someone likes you, they can't help but talk about you. Yes, they have a positive energy. Exactly. And think about it again, going back to the different brands. When you find something that you really like, a particular car brand, you know, if your brand is Ford and you've had Fords in your family for, I don't know, the last few generations, or the last 3 cars that you've had have always been a Ford, and you like the fact that they're reliable, and if you ever do need service, they're great with that. It doesn't cost you a lot. They give you a loaner car, whatever it is. You like that brand. And when you like a brand, what do? You tell people, right? And when you tell people, you tell them with excitement. It's like you're reliving that experience that you had with that brand, and then other people kind of catch that fire and they say, "Oh, well, I need to look into that, or I need to talk with that person. Let me look them up. What's their website?" So when you're trying to build for yourself, share with others about your experience. Yes. Something else that builds the likability factor is sharing of yourself. You're exactly right. And that's how you become engaging. When you share with people your life experiences and you say, "Hey, I haven't always been this polished. Let me tell you what I went through, or let me tell you what I learned, or let me tell you who's coaching me. This is what I just got. Yesterday I went to my own business coaching session and this is what I got from it. Awesome. I'm applying this and look how it's working in my business." This is how you create a community. When people don't just tune in for a moment and say, "Oh, okay, that's good information, I'll move on." But they stick around, they come back because they like you. Why do they like you? Because you've engaged them. How do you engage them? Because you listen, first of all, when people share things, right? That's why I like the live interaction here. It's a lot of fun for me because I like to see what people are thinking, if what I'm saying is making sense, if it's helpful. I appreciate the hearts. Thank you, guys. That keeps me going. It lets me know, okay, I'm not just talking to myself. Something is making sense. It's resonating with you. But the likability comes from people knowing something about you, knowing who you are. And you do that by giving yourself, by sharing yourself. And it doesn't take anything away from your professional persona. And let me say there's a difference between a persona and a brand. Sometimes we tend to focus on this persona, this right or perfect image, and we forget to just be who we are. And people can see the difference. They can tell when you're being fake. They can tell when you're being phony or pretentious. We all want to feel a sense of connection with other people. So if I see something in you that's like me, then I'm going to like you. And even if you may be at that next level where I'm trying to get to, but I see something familiar in you that encourages me. Wow, okay, I can follow this person because she gets me. Or he understands because he's been there before. He's gone through this struggle, but wow, look at him now. Okay, let me just stick in here, stick with this, or learn this information from this person because they get it. They get me. And that's part of that likability as well, is being relatable and being relational with people and not just promoting, "Oh, I'm the expert in this, that, or the other, and you can learn this from me," and, posturing yourself. People are turned off by that. So I hope that those of you who are in business for yourself, and even if you're not, if you're representing a company, that you understand the power of influence that you have when you represent what that brand is. The power of influence that you have to make or break the business that you're doing. And so integrity and likability are very important factors. Now, the third thing I'm going to say to you, and this is where I'm going to have to dig in deeper tomorrow. The third thing that you need, the must-haves for the three must-haves for a dynamic personal brand. We did the first one, which is integrity. The second one is likability. And the third one is confidence. So let's think about that for a moment. Now that may seem obvious. Oh, you need confidence in order to build a positive or dynamic personal brand. But let's think about that for a moment. What does that really mean? And a lot of people talk about confidence. What does that look like? What does that feel like? How does that resonate in you? Is there anyone who's listening now who thinks, "Oh, sure, yeah, I'm confident because I know my subject. I know what I'm doing." And some of you may be thinking, "Well, that's an area that I need to work on. How do I just get confidence?" Well, let me tell you first of all what that does for you, and then I'll talk about how you can actuate that, okay? How you can build that confidence. Confidence, Positive attitude, happy in your own self and skin. That's right. Yes. Now, here's the thing. We all struggle with something that we feel is a shortcoming in our lives. Am I right? We don't always share what that is, but we know there's some areas of growth that we need to work on. And if that's something has to do with our professional image, people can tell when you lack confidence. Yes, they can. And you know what happens? When they can tell you lack confidence, guess what? They lack confidence in you as well. And that hurts everyone. So here's the thing. I've heard this for the longest. Fake it till you make it. And, I've gone back and forth between deciding whether I agree with that or not. And it's all in the way that you frame that, fake it till you make it. There are some aspects of etiquette in business that you cannot fake. And those are the areas that can cause the greatest concern, because you can lose business, you can lose money, you can lose opportunity, you can lose advancement because you've made mistakes in some areas of true ignorance, things that you did not really know. So how do you build confidence in an area where you don't even know that you're making mistakes? You see, that's why I say in this instance that fake it till you make it doesn't always work. Because you can be confidently doing the same thing wrong over and over and over again. And if someone doesn't tell you that, they don't have the grace to tell you that, then you continue to make that mistake and you don't realize that it's blocking your growth. So it's more than just having a positive attitude or going with what you know, but sometimes you have to dig a little deeper and knowing that in a certain situation you've done the right thing, or that you've said the right thing, or you handled it the right way. That's what helps to build confidence, and that confidence comes from knowledge. There are some areas where you've built a level of skill and knowledge, and so you can be confident in that. If you have studied mathematics, for a number of years, in fact, you have a degree in engineering or some math-related profession, then yes, you can get up and solve an equation. But for me, I go blind, I freeze, I get nervous, I sweat buckets. If somebody puts something up on the board that has a bunch of numbers and letters, and it's another language for me. I have zero confidence in that. Why? Because I don't have the foundational information. Yeah, math. Woo! Don't hate it, learn to love it, learn to embrace it. That's one of the things that has been a weak area for me. And in business, there's business math, right? You have to do some things with numbers. So I've learned to embrace that. But when you're looking at something that is totally foreign to you, of course you're going to lack confidence. But what's worse is when you don't know that you don't know. That's what really hurts. So confidence is much more than just having the positive attitude, but it's knowing that you did the right thing in the right way at the right time. And that's based on the right information. Another area that builds confidence is knowing who you are. That's foundational. You are your personal brand. You have to know yourself better than anyone else in order to rightly present yourself. Now, what do I mean by that? It goes back to the integrity and the likability. Likability comes from sharing who you are, knowing your story. So if you know your story, you know why you're doing the things that you're doing in business, why you decided to go down this avenue or this journey in your profession, that you fine-tuned, this is my message. Knowing why is very important. In fact, knowing why is more important than knowing how sometimes, because knowing why will keep you from going off on tangents and becoming the Walmart / Neiman Marcus / something else, because you forgot your why. So it's important, and you build confidence around knowing why you're in business for yourself. What motivated you to do that? What is the message that you're trying to share with people? And how do you want to share that? So that keeps you from, trying a little of this, trying a little bit of that, and people getting confused about what your brand is. So that goes back to how you build in confidence, is knowing what you stand for, knowing who you are, knowing what you want to present to the world, and confidently doing that because your message is consistent. That's the integrity. And you're able to share your story in a way that's engaging. That's the likability. So confidence also comes from, like I said, right knowledge applied at the right time in the right way. So that comes back to my subject. I'm here to share with you business etiquette, how to apply the rules of etiquette in business so that it can benefit you for your personal brand, for your business relationships, and for your success overall and growing your professional community. So tomorrow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig a little deeper on these 3 points. So anybody who's been listening from the beginning, tell me what those 3 things are. Your must-haves for a dynamic personal brand. What was number 1? Then you can give me number 2 and number 3. And I will recap for those who may be coming in late. Yes, integrity was number 1. What was the next one that I gave you? And anybody can answer. I feel like I'm putting Giselle on the spot. Likability, yes, that was number 2. And what was the third one? Confidence. Excellent, excellent. Great. Thank you so much, Giselle, for participating. I appreciate that. I feel like I'm in a class, especially with my glasses on, but I need these to read, so I'm reading my notes. Okay, so for those of you who may be joining late, and to just recap for those of you who don't have the time or you're jumping in and out, let me just say the 3 must-haves. This is fun for me. Oh, wonderful. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. The 3 must-haves for a dynamic personal brand is likability, integrity, and confidence. Now, let me put them in the order that I would suggest that you focus on. I would say number 1 is confidence. Number 2 is likability. And number 3 is integrity. Now, the reason why I put them in that order is because remember what I said about confidence. Confidence first comes from having that right information. So before you can jump out and, let me give you a simple example. If you're playing baseball, right? You have to know the rules of the game. You have to know where to stand. You have to know when it's your turn to go up to bat. You have to know how to hold the bat. You have to know when to swing. You have to know the direction you're going to put it out there, and you have to know where your team members are. So in case you are a good hitter, you know how hard to hit. Hey, the Courage Giver is here. Yay, I was talking about you. RJ, you're going to have to watch the recap. We sent you lots of love and accolades. Thank you so much for joining. So I'm talking about the 3 must-haves for a dynamic personal brand. They are confidence, likability, and integrity. And I explained what all 3 of those really mean. So let me just go back and say my order of preference would be confidence, then likability, then integrity. Oh, bless you, bless you. So confidence comes from having the right information, applying it correctly at the right time. And then once you have that knowledge, and you know that you have that knowledge, you're equipped with that, that's part of what builds your confidence. And then you can share yourself, you can share your story, you can share your why with people. And that is what makes you engaging. When you tell your story and when you have that passion, when you have that knowledge, people are drawn in by your confidence. And that makes you likable. So that's the next thing. That's why it follows after the confidence, because you have to know what you're talking about first, right? And then you have to know how to express it. And that's what makes people engaged. And then you have to give a consistent message. That's the level of integrity. And that's why I put them in that order. Confidence, then the likability, then integrity. So tomorrow I'm going to dig into the confidence. Remember, I said that that comes from right knowledge at the right time, right? Applied rightly, just to use that same phrase so you get the understanding, okay? So tomorrow I'm going to dig deeper and help you build confidence in your level of professionalism by giving you some good information on business etiquette, all right? Because I want you to know what you know and why you know that it's right, okay? So the last thing I'm going to say is, remember, mistakes in etiquette can cost you business. So in order to avoid those mistakes, Breath of Life, hi, I think it was it Alicia or something? Please tell me your first name again. It's been a week or so. I apologize. Alicia, yay! Okay, I got it right. Thanks for joining. I'm recapping and I'm about to sign off, so please watch the recap. But the 3 things that I talked about are the must-haves for a dynamic personal brand is confidence, likability, and integrity. Confidence comes from knowledge, knowing that what you're saying, what you're sharing, and how you're doing that is the correct way. Likability is being engaging. Great. Thank you, Alicia. Being engaging, being approachable, being responsive, being positive. And then integrity is being consistent, respectful of your audience, and having healthy boundaries. All right? So our 3 things: confidence, likability, integrity. Tomorrow evening, I'm going to share with you in that area of confidence. I'm going to help to build your confidence in improving your professionalism and your dynamic personal brand by giving you some tools and tips on business etiquette. So I hope you'll be here tomorrow. If you're not following me on Twitter, please, I ask that you do that so that I can give you the time for tomorrow. I haven't set that yet. I've also asked for you guys to give me your feedback. Thank you very much, RJ. I appreciate that. I've asked for feedback for the best time to scope with you guys because I want to make sure that I have you here live so that we can interact. Replay is awesome. You can still get the same information, but I don't get to hear from you then. So I want to make sure that as much as possible, those of you who are following, that you can engage while I'm still live, okay? So I'm offering 3 times during the day, either 1 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m., or 7 p.m. Eastern. So if you wouldn't mind, before I sign off, you can throw up a number there, or you can send it to me on Twitter and just send a quick note, best time for me. And I will tally those and I'll make some decisions about the best time. Okay, I'm seeing 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock works, Eastern Standard Time. Okay, very good. That seems to be the consensus for those who are on this evening. If you don't mind, I'm going to extend the poll a little bit longer, and I'm going to actually do a short scope tomorrow at a different time in the day, just to see if I'm catching some other folks, because I noticed that on my Periscope list, it shows that I have 60-something followers, but I'm not capturing too many folks in the evening, so I'm going to test out the different times. But don't worry, you're not going to miss the information tomorrow. You can always get the replay, but tomorrow evening is when I'm going to do the lesson that I talked about this evening, okay? So tomorrow during the day sometime, I'm just going to put a feeler out and do a Periscope, just a little teaser, and see who's able to jump on then, and I'll catch the poll from those folks. And then I'll come back in the evening to do part 2 of this lesson. Is that all right with you guys? Can I have a thumbs up or something? Let me know that that works for you. And you'll plan to be with me tomorrow evening sometime around the same time in the evening. All right, I see hearts. I'm going to take that as a go. All right? Thank you so much for being here. And again, I apologize for not having been here last week. It was a crazy week. I spent a week off, but I'm back. I'm going to be here with you guys this week. We're going to work out the schedule and get a regular time. And then I want to start digging into some real lessons. I want to give you real content, something that you can take away. And I always want to make sure that, because we're not doing full seminars here, we're not doing a full class. You know, sometimes I take 2 hours minimum, or a full day to do my workshops. But what I want to do is make sure that on these scopes, I'm giving you enough information that either immediately or within the week, you can make some adjustments. You can apply this information. So if I'm not doing that, please let me know, because I have so much content that I can share, but I want to make sure that I'm giving you enough that you can use without missing that point, if that makes sense. So like for this evening, I spoke about confidence, likability, and integrity. And those things are an overall umbrella to building your dynamic personal brand. So tomorrow we're going to dig into confidence, and I'm going to give you some information, some tools that will help to build your confidence as you build your professional brand. All right, and then we'll continue through the rest of the week. We'll go through the rest of those. Okay, thank you so much for being here this evening, and I'm going to wish you a good night. I will see you tomorrow. And if this has been good for you and you'd like to share this with your community, please, at any time, you can hit the share button. Good night. You're welcome for the information, and I will see you tomorrow.